By the end of this video, you will learn 5 things to do with your first language that most writers wouldn't even think of trying. If you are a non-native speaker, this video is absolutely for you. I am also a non-native speaker and I've learned this the hard way. If you are a native speaker, also stay till the end because this video will unlock something new and useful for your writing. My name is Yiqing and I am a working playwright, screenwriter, and essayist. English is my second language, which I didn't know until I was 11 years old. I learned it in public schools, in classrooms in China. And what I am about to tell you is really hands-on experience and a lot of reflection since I came to the United States 12 years ago through acting, writing, and just talking to people. I also write a letter series called Anti-Content, How to Write What's True. Those are 5 free emails over the course of 5 days to deliver exercises, tips, advice, and lessons on writing what's true and what's honest and what's in your body. So sign up, links are in the description and comment section. And here we begin. Lesson number 1 is spend your vocabulary on nouns and verbs, not adjectives. I know when we want to broaden our vocabulary, which yes, you as a non-native speaker, you naturally want to do that. So do I, because we naturally quote unquote lack it. We did not grow up here, right? But here's the thing, stock up on your nouns and verbs, especially those very specific ones. Now, when you say bread, don't just say bread. Is it brioche? Is it challah bread? Is it sourdough? Now, what type of bread is it, right? So be specific, stock up on those things. And again, that requires living. So go live a life. Go into life, learn different types of things and learn their specific names. Those are going to give you so much more information and so much more to write about than just a simple generic bread. Same thing goes for verbs. Verbs, I especially invite you to learn the specific verbs that give you an image. For example, don't just say she walks or she runs. We can't really have an image of that. She saunters, she sidles, she beelines to the counter. Right? Those things gives you a very distinct picture of how this person moves. You say jump. What kind of a jump is it? Is it a hop or is it a leap? Right? So the latter gives you so much more information and gives you an image, and that's what we are looking for. Adjectives, don't worry too much about them. Why? Because adjectives give you opinions. For example, you can say, oh, she seems nervous or she looks nervous. We don't want to hear that. We want to know that she clenches her teeth. She fidgets side to side like a 6-7-year-old going to school for the first day. She twists her finger. She twists a ring on her finger. Right? That's an image. Which leads me to lesson number 2. Is always describe the picture. This is what kids do when they don't know what that is. They will start to describe it. When they ask for things from you, they will say, I want that long, pink, noodly thing, whatever that is. And then they learn the vocabulary. That's how kids learn. That's also a useful lesson for people who are non-native speakers. I once forgot the word pretzels and I really wanted some on a flight, and I started describing, oh, you know, those crispy, salty, heart-shaped snacks. And then the flight attendant handed me a bag of pretzels. There you go. This is a very useful exercise for you as a native speaker. If you're watching, is that sometimes we take these things for granted. We know it and we don't even think about it. But this gives you an opportunity to actually describe your day-to-day items as if you don't know their names. You will be surprised. Yes, you will surprise yourself, I promise. So turn this into a lesson and start doing it for yourself, okay? Lesson number 3, hear the language instead of just hearing through them. Now, if you noticed for the past couple of minutes, I am very animated. I gesture a lot. And this gesturing also helps me convey my meanings. It's part of my speech, not just the words. So when you are listening, listen for the whole thing. Not just the words. Words carry meanings, but the gestures, the tones, what this person looks like, everything. That's about observing people, right? And I do think that non-native speakers, because we really don't have, a lot of times we miss those words. So we try to capture the meanings more from the gesture, from the tones, from all that. And I really learned it because when I first started English, listening was very hard. I just always miss words. So whenever I speak with a native speaker who speaks very fast and I can't catch up, I just watch them. I try to make sense by watching, by looking at them. So that's actually how I honed my listening skill. Then I went to acting school, and that's a whole thing about being present and all that. I will spare you that one because that's a separate video on its own. But my point is, capture the language. This helps you with dialogue. When you're writing dialogue for plays, for screenplays, for fiction, it helps you because you actually start to absorb more of how someone speaks instead of just what this person says. You get the idea, okay? Observe the full picture. Listen with your whole body. And that's how you get the most vivid details and most accurate information. Lesson number 4 is try writing in your first language and see what comes up. Let me give it a simpler version. Just try observe some visceral response when you're using your first language. And native speakers, I am speaking to you too, because you also have a first language, even if it is English. But the English you speak at home versus someone else's English speak at home, they are different. How did your parents talk to you? How did you communicate with your siblings? Right? This all goes back to what I discussed before about how kids ask for things, all that. So try to see how that lives in your body. And I want to share a personal observation here. I realized 12 years in the United States, I realized that sometimes when I want to say no, the first no that came out was not the English word no, it was the Chinese word 不, which is no. So it's a very strong visceral response, and it gave me so much more information in terms of where my boundaries live. Like my boundaries live in my gut, and that's like still connected to my most primary memories and my language system. I sometimes still write in Chinese and just see how that makes me feel, what comes up. I sometimes just speak to myself in Chinese and see, oh, does this feel more true to me than this in English? If that's the case, how can I translate it better in English? Try this, okay? Even if you speak a second language that is not English, right? Even if English is first language and you speak, try compare the languages and see what pops up for you, what pops up in your body. And that will really help you understand yourself and understand writing and come up with fresh new ideas. Lesson number 5 is, let me take a look at my note. This is an advantage that I want you to remember, non-native speakers, my dear non-native speaker friends, is that we do not inherit anything, English-wise. We do not inherit anything. So we learned a lot of things are acquired taste, which is great because you can decide what you acquire. For those who inherited languages from their parents, native speakers, this is for you. You might have to unlearn a lot of things, whatever you inherited from your parents. You might want to unlearn some. But for me, it's a blank canvas for me. I get to decide which playwrights I want to read and watch, which screenwriters I want to study, which essayists I want to read. It's an acquired taste, and I get to choose how I want to acquire and where I want to acquire it from. And it gives me a lot of creative control. I say creative control as if it's making films. You get the idea. It does give you a lot of creative control because you get to decide your input. And because there's nothing to unlearn, really. I mean, the things that you need to unlearn probably comes from your first language. So if that gets in the way, yes, you do need to unlearn that. But when it's a new language, there's nothing to unlearn. You just acquire. And that's exciting because it's fresh new data. So I think even for native speakers, try something completely new, try someone you've never read before, read them and see which ones you want to reread. The ones that you want to reread are probably the ones that somehow touch you in a way that's different than the others. I guess that's the closest that I can think of. But you get the idea. You get to choose how to acquire your taste. So for my non-native speakers, if you ever feel insecure about sharing your writings in English just because this is not your first language, do not worry about it. This is an advantage. We're a blank canvas, we're a sponge, okay? So put yourselves out there and keep acquiring your taste as you go. I hope you do get some value out of it. I was not planning on this, but I decided that there might be value for you because many people have been asking me, how do you write so well in your second language? And I guess, these things are what I reflected. But really it works for everybody. I just have to try harder because I didn't learn it this way. Do sign up for my newsletter and at least get the free 5-day email letter series on how to write what's true, right? So at least you can walk away from something useful to kickstart your next chapter of writing. And I don't see this as content. I see this as a two-way street, channel of communication. So let me know what you want to watch, what you want to hear about, what you want to see next. I will make a plan and I will deliver. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.